Hello and welcome to another episode of What Travis Says. My name is Travis and let's talk about Doctor Who. More specifically, the season 11 finale, the Battle of Ranskoor Kolos. Ranskoor Kolos. More specifically, the season 11 finale, the Battle of Ranskoor Kolos. Now, if you've not yet watched the season finale, don't watch this video any farther because there will be spoilers. So the TARDIS starts getting 9 distress signals all from the same planet, the same area of the same planet, Ranskoor Kolos. And so the TARDIS materializes on the planet and we see ruins of this massive battle, and I think, okay, here we go. This is going to be a pretty great finale. We get the introduction of the Uks, possibly the most interesting new people in this season. And then the pieces of the finale start coming together, an intergalactic war, dimensional engineers, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, this is gonna be good. And almost halfway through the episode, we find out that, yep, that adversary is Tim Shaw, our buddy from Sheffield, from the very first episode of the season. Tying it all the way back, Jodie Whittaker's Doctor's very first adversary. Okay. And honestly, it's a great idea from a writing standpoint. Building story arcs, bringing back familiar faces, familiar adversaries, tying it all together. And we find out that Tim Shaw is even more villainous than we would have ever given him credit for, manipulating the Uks for their powers by manipulating their faith, and he takes their powers and does all of these evil misdeeds. Tim Shaw uses the Uks to pull 5 planets out of space-time in order to build a weapon to destroy the Earth, because 3,407 years later, dude is still holding a grudge. There's that tension between Graham and the Doctor. Graham thinks that he's going to kill Tim Shaw, and the Doctor doesn't want him to. We as the viewers know that he's probably not going to, because a lot of companions end up going through this trend where they are amazed by the Doctor. They follow along in the Doctor's footsteps. They try to follow directions until one day they decide that their decision making is better than the Doctor's, and they try to make their own way, and then the companion and the Doctor butt heads, and there's an argument and a fight. Sometimes the companions die. This happens with almost every single companion. Every companion that I can think of. Even Susan. This happened with Susan. And in the end, Graham cannot kill the big bad. Instead, he and Ryan seal off Tim Shaw in a chamber where he's going to live out eternity. Which is okay. But there was only like, what, one stanza reference since episode 1, the entire season? So why does Tim Shaw get to be the big bad of the season finale? I just feel he might not have been the best villain for the season finale, or at least the only villain for the season finale. I had this thought during the season that maybe during the season finale, the Doctor would have to fight a group of the adversaries which she amassed during the entire season. You know how some of the bad guys just got away? Well, they could all come together at the very end, the very last finale episode of this season. But nope, our boy Timmy Shaw is the only one. And then by the end of the episode, there were still a lot of threads that I felt were just unfollowed or forgotten about, but we'll talk about those at a later date. Though it is very important to remember that this is not the first Doctor Who season finale to let us down. Clara's entire character arc led us to the Name of the Doctor, and yeah. Visually and creatively, the Name of the Doctor was pretty good, but calling it the Name of the Doctor is kind of like calling it the favorite color of the Doctor and then not really talking about colors much at all in the entire episode. Hellbent is a pretty terrible episode, especially if you're not a fan of Clara, and it arguably ruins Heaven Sent, which is one of the best Doctor Who episodes in recent memory. And in this season finale, there's no Doctor regeneration, there's no saying goodbye to a companion, there's no wiping out the villainous enemy a la Bad Wolf. It feels like a normal Doctor Who episode. Compared to the other 9 episodes of this season, it was one of the best, but it just didn't feel like a finale. It just lacked the weight that it needed in order to make it feel like someone was in danger or that Tim Shaw was even a real threat. We can definitely see how petty he is, but he's not a brilliant, tactical, terrifying, evil villain or anything like that. Plus, his super weapon takes longer to power on than the Death Star, so. But the neural balancers, that was one of the most frustrating parts for me. The entire episode, they built up these neural balancers so much. The doctor warned them if they weren't wearing these neural balancers, then the planet was going to mess with their minds. But in an effort to save the Earth, Yaz and the doctor both take off their neural balancers, put them on the Ux, and then what? The doctor gets a little bit of a headache, starts doubting her plan, which eventually just works? There was so much opportunity with something like that. Could you imagine this planet messing with the mind of someone like the Doctor? What if we had gotten to see the episode play out from the mind of the Doctor after she had taken her neural balancer off? The plan happens just like how it did in the episode, but once the Doctor gets to, hang out in the TARDIS for a little bit, the planet stops affecting her mind as much, she starts to realize that everything isn't happily ever after, that something awful has happened. The Doctor finds out that Graham had sacrificed himself in some way to save the Earth, to make sure that the Earth was safe. Graham is now gone. And then we as the viewers get to see how things actually played out from Ryan's perspective, who still had his neural balancer on. Graham knows that he's about to die. He tells Ryan that this is what Grace would have wanted. Him to be a hero. Him to save the entire planet. Graham had come there to kill Tim Shaw, but instead of killing Tim Shaw, Graham was sacrificing himself to save the Earth. And that is where Ryan tells him that he loves him. That is where the fist bump happens. Don't get me wrong, I love Graham a lot. He has had a wonderful character arc in this season, but he had a pretty fulfilling character arc in this season as well. Yaz and Ryan still have a lot of room to go, but Graham has gone leaps and bounds of character development. It's just, he's such a great character. It would have been a fantastic moment, and it would have added so much weight to the episode. It would have made it feel like a season finale. We would have lost someone we really cared about, and the Doctor would have had no idea. It would have been heartbreaking. It would have been amazing. It would have been terrifying and sad. It would have played into the planet actually manipulating their minds. It would have just been amazing, if I do say so myself, because I just kind of wrote that in my head. There are a lot of things that I would like to talk to you about pertaining to this season, and those videos will have to come out in a few days or so because I've just been so swamped with life and work and responsibilities and things. Sorry this video is going up so late. I needed to formulate my thoughts in a way that didn't make me seem exhausted or rushed, because I want to put a lot of thought into these, and I want to give you my actual opinions on the episodes. So in the comments down below, let me know what you thought of this year's season finale. Do you think it was pretty great in its own right, or what would you have done to change it, to make it a little different, to add some weight to the episode, to make it feel like a season finale? What would you have done? I don't want to hear anybody criticizing anything just for the sake of criticizing. What would you have done differently? That is what I'm most interested in. I get a lot of criticisms about my positive spins on these episodes, and that's just because I enjoy the show. I enjoy the experience, the adventure. I enjoy seeing where these travels are going to take our Who crew, but, there are some things that can definitely be worked out. It's just, I hear a lot of people talking about, oh, the writing is awful, the writing is awful, the writing is awful. So my question to you is, how would you fix the writing? What sort of adventures would you have the Doctor go on? What sort of themes would you have in an episode? What do you think makes good writing of a Doctor Who episode or story arc or finale? I would love to hear your thoughts. But as always, my name is Travis. Thank you for listening to what I have to say, and you will see me soon.